Alright, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm CTigirsGaming, and this video I'll be showing you guys the best and must use settings in Call of Duty Vanguard, so you always have the advantage over your enemies. And anytime if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to see for the like button. 15 Call of Duty, make sure to subscribe, turn on notification bell and join notification squad. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, let's start off with the most important ever, and that is the horizontal and vertical sensitivity. Now, as you guys are seeing, I use 12 for both. However, unfortunately, this is not something that I can tell you to use 12, because while 12 works for me, it might not work for you. When it comes to the sensitivity, you just have to try a couple different settings. Maybe for you it will work 6, maybe 7, or if you guys like high sensitivity, then you might use 14, 15. So this is one of the settings that you actually have to try different levels and see what works best for you and stick with that. Next up, you have the button layout preset. I use bumper jumper. Again, this is up to you, whatever you want to use, whether you want to use the one-handed gunslinger or the bumper jumper tactical, stick and move, brawler. That's up to you, whatever you've been using, you use that. However, another important thing on the button layout preset, if you press square, show more, or X on the Xbox, it comes up with flip L1 and R1 with L2 and R2. Now, it actually has been proven that using the bumpers instead of the triggers is much faster, and you'll always have the advantage over your enemies, because the way the bumpers are designed, when you click them, they are much faster to go from 0 to 100 than it is for the triggers, and that's why it is that tiny bit faster to use the bumpers than it is to use the triggers. However, as somebody that has been using the triggers to aim and shoot for over 5 years, it is very difficult to use the bumpers over the triggers. But if you're a fast learner, then make sure to flip it with the bumpers and stop using the triggers, because like I said, it is that tiny bit faster. You'll always aim and shoot before your enemy does if you are using the bumpers instead of the triggers. When it comes to me, I still use the triggers. I know I'm disadvantaging myself here, but I've tried flipping it with the bumpers and I just could not do it. I kept on getting absolutely destroyed. I cannot use the triggers, but if you can, use the bumpers 100%. Then we move down to another important setting, and this one is the aim response curve type. For me, I use the linear. However, just like the sensitivity, this one really depends on you, because while linear works for me, it might not work for you. Or for example, if standard works for you, it does not work for me. I do recommend you guys to use linear. However, this is one of those settings that you have to try all three yourself and see what works best, and you stick with that. We move down to the controller vibration, and this one is an absolute off, okay? Never turn it on, always off, because if you have it on, you are disadvantaging yourself. If you are playing single player, campaign, whatever, that's fine, have it on, immerse yourself into the game more. But when you're playing multiplayer, especially Call of Duty or any FPS, make sure controller vibration is off, because whenever you get shot at, your controller vibrates, and then that actually ruins your aim. And in any FPS, you never want to ruin your aim. You want to be as accurate as possible. Whatever you aim, that's where you want to shoot, and you do not want a controller vibration to ruin that for you. Always have controller vibrations off. Then we move down to another two very important settings, that is the trigger effect and the weapon fire threshold. Now, these are only exclusive to PlayStation 5, and always both of them have them off. If you are playing any FPS multiplayer, always have them off. Once again, like the controller vibration, if you are playing single player or campaign, have them on, immerse yourself even more into the game. But when it comes to multiplayer and an FPS game, always have it off, because once again, you do not want to disadvantage yourself against others. You always want to have the advantage over your enemies, and not your enemies have advantage over you. And playing while using the trigger effect and the weapon fire threshold, you are disadvantaging yourself. Turn them off. Now we move on to another very important setting, and that is the target aim assist. Always on. Why would you disadvantage yourself by having it off? Make sure it is always on. And if you click more, we have the target aim assist mode. We have default, precision, focusing, and black ops. Once again, this is one of those settings that one might work for me, one might not work for you. I use precision, it works absolutely wonders for me. And no, I don't use precision because I think I am the most accurate player in Call of Duty. Absolutely not. I've tried all of them and I've seen that precision works the best, and I recommend you guys to use precision as well. But once again, like I said before, make sure you try them all out and see what works for you, and you stick with that. We move down to the weapon mount activation. I use ADS plus melee because it is the best setting in my opinion. You do not want to use double tap ADS, because let's say you want to aim in and aim out and aim in again very quickly, and then you mount, and that causes you troubles. You get killed by an enemy. That's absolutely terrible. Again, same thing for ADS. The second you ADS, if you need something, you mount, and you do not want to mount, that's just gonna cause you problems. Make sure to use ADS plus melee. Alongside that, we also have the weapon mount movement exit, and that is basically holding a movement input actually exits you out of a mount. That is very important also to have on. And if you click show more, you have the weapon mount exit delay. I keep it alone. I think it works the best, and I recommend you guys to do the same. We move down, we have the depleted ammo weapon switch and the blunt fire. Have them on. It is very important, especially if you're out of ammo, you want to switch quickly, so that's very important to have on. And also blunt fire, a new feature in Call of Duty Vanguard. Make sure to have it on. We move down to the movement, and we have the automatic airborne mantle. that one is make sure you have it off, because if you have it on and the second you are close to a obstacle, your operator will just jump over it. Maybe you do not want to jump over it and that causes you to get killed. Absolutely terrible. Make sure you have it off, and you will only mantle whenever you press a button to mantle and not automatically. Another important setting is the automatic sprint. I have it off and I recommend you guys to have it off as well. While yes, you can have automatic sprint or your automatic tactical sprint, the second you move your movement button and boom, straight away you can either automatic sprint or tactical sprint without actually having to press it once or press it twice for tactical sprint. However, that could cause you a lot of trouble in gunfights. Make sure to have it off and only sprint whenever you want to sprint, and tactical sprint whenever you want to tactical sprint by pressing the button twice. So I recommend you guys to have it off and sprint or tactical sprint whenever you want to by pressing the button once or twice. When it comes to the auto move forward, I have it off and I recommend you guys to do the same. For the sprint cancels reload, absolutely off as well, because if you have it on, it means when you reload you cannot sprint, and that is absolutely terrible. Why would you want to do that? Maybe you're trying to run away from a gunfight and you reload, that's it, you get slowed down, you cannot sprint and you get killed. So make sure sprint cancels reload is off, so whether you are reloading or not, you will always sprint. Sprint indoor bash, keep it on, off, doesn't matter, whatever you want to do that you can do. Slide behavior, I use tap, it comes really in handy. Just tap it, slide instead of holding it. Holding it could take you a second for it to trigger, but tap, boom, straight away you tap it, you slide. It can get you out of gunfights or win you gunfights very easily. So I recommend you guys to have it on tap. Again, same thing for the sprint slash tactical sprint behavior, have it on toggle. You do not want to have it on hold because it will take you that second longer to actually activate it. On toggle, straight away, boom, you are sprinting or tactical sprinting. And down sight behavior, I keep it on hold. This one is actually better to have it on hold, because if you have it on toggle, you have to press to aim down sight and then again press to stop. But if you have it on hold, as long as you hold it, you will be ADSing. The second you take off your finger off your aiming button, you stop ADSing, and that is very important. Again, for the equipment behavior, you need to have it on hold. Toggle is absolutely terrible. You have to press buttons twice and you never want to do that. Just keep it on hold, cook your grenade, throw it very easily. Again, we have the automatic weapon fire behavior, keep it on hold. You don't want to press to shoot and then press again to stop. You want to be in control of that. As long as you hold it, you shoot. You take it off, you don't shoot, and that is very important. Interact and reload behavior, this is up to you whether you want to tap to reload or tap to interact or prioritize interact or reload. That's up to you. I keep it to tap to reload. I think that works the best. Now let's move on to the graphics settings, and the most important one is the field of view or FOV. I use 110. Whatever you do not use 60. 60 is absolutely terrible, like you're seeing in front of you right there. Using 60 FOV, that's all you see. Using 80, that's all you see. Using 100, you see a bit more, and of course 120, you see even more. So I recommend you guys to use 110. That works best for me. But once again, you might want to use something more. You want to use 115 or maybe 120, or you might want to use something less, maybe about 100 or 90 or 85. That works best for you. The FOV slider is a game-changing setting. Try at different levels, see what works best for you, and you stick with that. But I recommend you guys to use 110. I think it is awesome for everything. But like I said, it's up to you. Try different levels and see what works for you and stick with it. And if you click more on the field of view, you get the ADS field of view. You have independent and you have affected. Now I use independent, and I recommend you guys to use independent as well, because using independent, aiming down sights zooms the field of view to its usual value, and if you use affected, aiming down sight zooms to a value closer to the field of view settings. Only applies to low magnification levels, including iron sights. So what that basically means is, if you use independent, when you aim down sight, the camera will actually move in closer, so you can see your enemies clearer and much closer. If you use affected, even if you aim down sight, the camera won't move as much. It will stick to whatever your field of view is, and that is absolutely terrible. That will make your enemy appear further and you can actually see him clearly. If you use independent, the camera zooms in and you can see very closely as if he is just right in front of you, and that is very important to win your gunfights. Then we have the camera movement. I use least 50%, and I recommend you guys to do that as well. And using least 50% will also help players that have motion sickness, so make sure you are using least 50%. It works the best. And finally, we have a couple more important settings, and that is the world motion blur and the weapon motion blur. Again, these two are absolutely off, like you're seeing in front of you right there. On the left, look how clear you see everything even while moving, and then on the right, when you are moving, the whole area becomes blurry and you can actually miss some enemies, and that will cost your eventual death. So make sure world motion blur and weapon motion blur, they are both off. Look how terrible that is. Look at that. And look at that, both of them absolutely terrible. Make sure you have them off, so whether you are running or using your weapon to move around, you will still see everything as clear as possible. Even if your enemy is right in front of you, you can see him. However, if you have it on, you are disadvantaging yourself. You will see everything blurry and you can miss enemies, and that is never good. And finally, for the depth of field, I know I should turn this off, but I have it on for whatever reason. And this one, basically, whenever you aim down sight, everything out of your ADS becomes blurry. If you have it off, whether you aim down sight or not, everything is still clear, and that is very important. Make sure you have your depth of field off, and matter of fact, I'm gonna turn it off right now as well. So that is very important as well. All of these 3 settings, make sure you have them off. But with that being said, make sure you guys are using these settings that I showed you here. These are the best and must use settings in Call of Duty Vanguard. Believe me, you will always have the advantage over your enemies, so you can win more gunfights and also games as well. But thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope these settings helped you out. And if they did, then make sure to see for the like button. For everything Call of Duty, make sure to subscribe, turn on notification bell and join notification squad, and I'll catch you guys later.